Hello, Year 10. Welcome to Session 2 on DNA. So I asked you to have a look at page 9 to 19. We're probably not going to get through all of that in this session. So I'm thinking we're going to look at Mark and Jan's scene and then Leah's first monologue. Not going to get on to John Tate. The PowerPoint will have John Tate as Session 3. It will make sense when you see it. So you can obviously have your copy of the PowerPoint, and you should have your copy of play. And obviously it's useful to have a revision guide as well. There's some interesting things in there that you can look at, which will be useful and inform your knowledge of the scenes and the characters as we go along. If you read and start making notes on what it says about the themes and the characters, but we'll talk through some of it. So what we did last session was think about the themes: gangs, morality, leadership, peer pressure. Now there are other themes that we'll come across today, a few more, and that's what we were thinking about at the end of the last session. So the first line of the play, dead. So who that is speaking, who's saying what to who. So you can have a look at that now. So Jan talking to Mark. So it's quite a powerful line to open, isn't it? A question about death. So Mark and Jan. Dead? Yeah. What, dead? Yeah. Like dead, dead? Yes. Proper dead, not living dead. Not living dead? Yes. Are you sure? Yes. I mean, there's no mistake or no mistake. It's not a joke. It's not a joke. Because it's not funny. It's not funny because it's not a joke. If it was a joke, it would be funny. Not hiding. Not hiding. Dead. Not dead. Oh, yes. God. Yes. God. Exactly. What are we going to do? So, that's the first scene with Mark and Jan. So, we don't know what is dead. We don't know in this first scene who Jan and Mark are, what their relationships are, what they're talking about. That could be about a dog. The idea of something hiding, the jokey tone about living dead, the way they speak, really monosyllabic, lots of opportunity for comedy within the darkness of their discussions of the serious nature of something being dead. But they seem worried, don't they? There's different ways you can interpret these characters, but they're definitely a comic element. and they almost act like narrators through the play. And the structure of the play, look at Jan and Mark's scenes happening, they almost do the same thing as like the chorus in Shakespeare, where we sort of get a bit of the story, like something else is going to happen or something is about to happen that's important. They're like a little comedy act with information. So let's just go back a bit to think about the characters. So we've got Mark and Dan, Leah and Phil, Lou, John Tate and Danny, Richard, Kathy and Brian, and a boy. And that boy is Adam. And it says, takes place in a street, a field, and a wood. And then the writer said, names and genders of characters are suggestions only and can be changed to suit performers. So, if you notice, that's quite interesting, isn't it? If you notice, some of the characters, like Lou, Danny, like you can have a Danielle or a Louise, things like that. Leah and Phil are often portrayed as like boyfriend and girlfriend, but depending on your directorial choices, you can have them as two girls or two boys, or just a boy and a girl that are friends. It doesn't have to be a romance there. But there could be an interchangeable genders. It could add another element to the production. The same with all the characters, Mark and Jan. That could easily be a different gender, two girls, two boys. And then the setting, a street, a field, and a wood. Different atmospheres, different ideas there. So we'll talk more about that. We talked in school a bit about that when we did the little designs, when you think about layers and levels on stage a couple of weeks ago, if you were in the lesson. But there's lots of interesting things that you can have with stage designs. So that's what, thinking about the characters at the start of the play, Mark and Jan, what do you think about them, who they are, the function that they have, the way that they speak to each other, the comedy and the seriousness of what they say. I quite like them. They are quite funny, but they've got a really dark bit of narration later on where they take us back in time about how they used to treat Adam. So even though they are comedic, jokey characters, there's a really dark, unpleasant side to their personalities. Not taking responsibility. So we've got this intrigue. So how does Kelly interest the audience from the start? And what do we learn about the characters from the brief nature of their exchanges? So on a street, Jan and Mark, if you want to start making notes, now would be a good time to do that. Write down what we've been talking about. Remember, you can pause this and carry on when you've done your notes. So, yeah, they're not the most articulate. They're not full of amazing ideas. They obviously annoy each other, but know each other very well. They're able to repeat each other or finish each other's sentences, agree with each other, but get frustrated by each other. So there's there's a friendship there, a close friendship. Definitely a sort of best friend vibe going on. And they always have their scenes together in the street. So that's an interesting element. And there's something in the study guide about themes of the street, the idea of at the time, like hoodies and youths. One of the themes was sort of antisocial disorder and young people and what they do with society and what they represent. This idea of Jan and Mark on the street, kids hanging out on the street, talking about someone being dead, sort of plays up to that stereotype of the antisocial youth. I think there's a design where the street, an idea would be having sort of lampposts and CCTV cameras, and Jan and Mark, as they're talking, like avoiding the cameras or graffitiing or smashing the camera off or spray painting the camera to represent sort of youth and that hooliganism and vandalism. Because while they come across as quite jokey, they're capable of very dark, sinister things, which is another element, theme of the play, isn't it? What humanity, what we are capable of, which links to the title DNA, what makes us what we are. So hopefully you've got some good points down about Jan and Mark and their powerful entrance, humour, and the darkness and the intrigue set up by who or what or why something is dead. So read pages 10 to 12. So we've got Leah and Phil in the field. Phil eating an ice cream. So it's a nice sort of running gag through the play about Phil eating, which is amusing and symbolic. So that's something to think about. So I'll be able to read the monologues, but later on, so the next scene, so the John Tate scene, there's 4 or 5 characters, it's going to be a bit hard me doing all the voices, but we'll see how that goes when we get to that. It might be an idea, some of you email each other and you can Zoom or house party and do script readings. Would be a nice idea if some of you want to do that. So, field, Leah and Phil. Phil eating an ice cream. Leah, what are you thinking? No answer. No, don't tell me. Sorry, that's such a stupid. You can tell me, you can talk to me. I won't judge you, whatever it is. Whatever your, I won't. Is it me? Not that I mean, it wouldn't matter if you weren't or were actually. So, are you thinking about me? No answer. Well, good things, Phil. Or, I mean, is it a negative? Are you thinking a negative thing about? Not that I'm bothered. I'm not bothered, Phil. I'm not. It doesn't. I don't care. I don't. What, like I talk too much? Is that it? That I talk too much? You sitting there in absolute silence thinking, Leah talks too much. I wish she'd shut up once in a while. Is that it? Is that what you're... Because don't, judge, because I'm all right. I do. There. I'm admitting. I talk too much. So shoot me. So kill me, Phil. Call the police, lock me up, rip out my teeth with a pair of rusty pliers. I talk too much. What a crime. What a sin. What an absolute catastrophe. Stupid, evil, ridiculous, because you're not perfect, actually, Phil. Okay? There, I've said it. You're not. You're a bit... You're... Pause, she sits. Do I disgust you? I do. No, I do. No, don't, because it's all right. It's fine. I'm not gonna, or whatever. It's not the collapse of my. Because I do have. I could walk out of here. There are friends. I've got friends. I mean, all right. I haven't got friends. Not exactly. I haven't, but I could if I wanted. If I wanted, given the right, given the perfect, circumstances. So don't, because you haven't either. I mean, it's not like you're, Mr. Popular. You haven't, you haven't. But that's different, isn't it? I mean, it is. It is. Don't say it isn't. Really, don't. You'll just embarrass us both because it is different. It's different because it doesn't matter to you, does it? Sitting there, all. You're not scared. Nothing scares. There, I've said it. Scared, Phil. I'm scared. They scare me. This place, everyone, the fear that everyone here, and I'm not the only one. I'm not the only one. Phil, I'm just the only one saying it. The fear that everyone here lives in, the brutal terror. It scares me. Okay, I've said it, and I'm not ashamed. Yes, I am ashamed, but I'm not ashamed of my shame. Phil, give me that much credit at least. Thank you. Everyone's scared. It's not just me. We've got each other. So don't give it all. You need me as much as. Don't give it all the beat. So that's an interesting thing we need to talk about. What are you thinking? Dan and Mark enter. We need to talk to you. Oh shit. So that's the end of that scene before we go into the wood. So that's all we are going to read. That's as far as we're going to read today. So let's think about Leah and her monologue. So what do we learn about her insecurities? How does the text show that Phil's lack of reaction makes her try different approaches to provoke one? How are her own worries shown in her monologue? What is the significance of her saying the fear that everyone here lives in, the brutal terror? So, do you see that gingerbread man, that roll on the wall character? So it's an interesting thing to do, like put how she's feeling, different emotions and quotes. So it'd be nice if you created a roll on the wall for Leah. And this first monologue, what we learn about her. Maybe you could do it in one colour, and when we do the other monologues, you could add to this one and see which things are the same. That would be an interesting thing to do. Or you could have different ones that you could play over each other to see, compare how if she progresses, changes through the play. So, what do we learn about her insecurity? You want to pause it now and go through making a list, getting some quotes? That would be good. So the script is yours. So you should be highlighting it, looking at it, whatever you like. So you can highlight different motivations, units and action, Stanislavski. So break it down. So where does she go from one viewpoint to another? So she's worried about what he's thinking. She's worried she's thinking bad things about herself. And then she acts like she's not bothered. And then she worries that he's thinking she's talking too much. And then she gets really over the top melodramatic about, so shoot me, so kill me, rip my teeth out with rusty pliers because I talk too much. And then she twists it and goes, well, you're. And then she makes it defending herself by criticising him, which doesn't actually say anything particularly. Then she goes on about, do I disgust you? So is that worried about her looks? Sad typical thing with teenage girls. And then she talks about not having many friends, feels bad about that, acting like she does but she doesn't. And then you see she's second guessing a lot of things, isn't she? So her looks, her personality, not having enough friends, all seem like typical teenage things. So we've got her own worries, and then there's a thematic worry. I said it's scared, I'm scared, they scare me, this place, everyone, the fear that everyone here, and I'm not the only one. I'm not the only one, Phil, I'm just the only one saying it. The fear that everyone here lives in, the brutal terror, it scares me. So contextually, time 2010, so we had 9/11 and obviously New York, and then we had the London terror bombings as well, and we're still living in an age where people are scared of terrorism. So he's like, Al Qaeda, and remember the beheadings that were posted, and war in the Middle East. So terrorism is still something that people are frightened of. So what Leah is writing about here, this society's fear, that could be a thing. So it's quite in a lot of young people's consciousnesses about terrorism and violence. Everyone's scared. We've got each other, we need each other. Phil's there eating his ice cream. Doesn't really look like he needs it, does it? So you've got this dark comedy as well. So the fear that everyone lives in, the brutal terror. So we've got layers here, haven't we? So teenagers living in fear just about the future. We've got generic things like everybody's fears in different scales, haven't we? So having friends, what you're doing with your future, all the way up to fighting for society. It's quite topical, obviously, in the context that we're doing this lesson in this format, isn't it? Because the fear that everyone lives in, the brutal terror. So if you're conscious of the danger of illness and things like that today, then that could easily apply and would be something interesting to talk about. So, should have lots of nice ideas about Leah, so if you need to pause it and do the feelings and highlighting and quotes, that would be good. Remember, you can take photos and put it onto Show My Homework or email it. George, I think you did both, which was good last time, so thank you for that. So let's just remind ourselves, what kind of relationship does Leah and Phil have? Are they close? Is he one-sided? Does he care? So evidence from the text. So here's no answer, no answer. It's quite clear evidence, isn't it? So if you were the actor, Phil, what would you be doing? What would be funniest? So it's quite good to work out different movements, like Leah being quite erratic, jumping up and getting closer, sitting down and lying down, because trying to get his attention in each of the monologues. So maybe this first one she could be a bit more relaxed and calm physically, but what would you be doing with her voice? And then what does he do? Does he roll his eyes at all? Does he bite his nail? The ice cream is probably going to have finished it halfway through the monologue. So what would you have Phil do? So key points from her monologue for him and her in performance. So using evidence from the text, so particular lines is always good. So I would have her stand up here. I would have her get really close into his vision so he can't not look away. But what does he do? Does he break eye contact? That type of thing. And why that line? Why choose that moment? So that's always good to say. So adding to your understanding. So Leah and Phil, their relationship at the beginning, what do you think of it? Write some notes on that. So good time to pause it if you haven't. So what do you think about Leah? Would you have her as your friend? Do you see qualities of her in all teenagers and all teenage girls? What about if it was Lee, not Leah? What about if it was a boy? How would that change your opinion of Lee? So think about that. So if it was two boys, how would that change how you'd think about those roles and those characters and those personalities? Or two girls? Again, so it's interesting. So write down views of Leah, and this is what we're going to do in our next session. So look at John Tate, how he's introduced. So you got like 4 pages. It's quite a key scene. But I think John Tate's scene has been used in a previous GCSE exam. But in the exam, it gives you a scene and then it asks you to write about another scene. So it is a really good scene with power struggle, confrontation. So it would be a good one to know very well, but it probably wouldn't be the named scene. So that's the end of session 2. Get your notes down, let me see your ideas, and let me know how you're getting on. Bye bye.